The NBA has become the definition of unpredictable sports entertainment. Every week in the league, something crazy happens, and not even the Warriors could believe their eyes. Take, for instance, the game on Monday between the Kings and Memphis. The Grizzlies took a 15-point lead in the first quarter, only for the Kings to storm back and secure the win. But that wasn't the story of the game. No. You see, out of the 9 Kings players who stepped onto the court, only one managed to get to the free throw line. I ain't kidding here, guys. Just look at this box score. Nothing for Sabonis, who lives in the paint. Nothing for Barnes. Nothing for Monk. This game marked just the 30th time in NBA history where only a single player on a team attempted a free throw. And this comment by a fan summed it up pretty well. Referees. That seems to be a common theme going on these days, and with that being said, buckle up, because we're going for a ride. On Saturday, I was super excited for the showdown between the Nuggets and the 76ers. I mean, Jokic versus Embiid is a matchup that nobody wants to miss. Unfortunately for everyone, the reigning MVP was a scratch late due to knee soreness. Coach Malone of the Nuggets was completely puzzled by this as well, saying,
I don't know how you go from being active, available, to out.
And the fans who paid top dollar to show up live? Well, they were visibly frustrated as they chanted, "Where's Embiid at?" Some fans were even holding a missing poster of Embiid for Pete's sake. Also on Saturday, the Bucks stomped out the Pelicans thanks to another casual 30-point, 12-rebound performance by Antetokounmpo. But the story of the game was when the other Antetokounmpo checked in. I'm talking about the man who many believe only has a spot in the NBA because of his brother, Thanasis Antetokounmpo. Anyway, this play here was the story of the game. Thanasis reached deep into his bag and put the ball behind his back to make the move to the basket. Unfortunately, he was called for a traveling violation. At that moment, his brother Giannis was irate and stood up immediately, followed by practically the whole Milwaukee bench to protest the call. This might be the first time I've ever seen an entire bench stand up to protest a traveling violation when they were up by 27 with less than 2 minutes to go. The Bucks interim head coach Prunty was actually going to challenge the call, but unfortunately, and apparently, the commentator said something that I didn't know, that you can't challenge travel calls.
That is one of the things you cannot challenge. You can challenge a foul call, a possession, and a goaltend, but you cannot challenge a Thanasis travel, unfortunately.
Honestly, if you ask me, the move looks legit. And if it's not legit, then it's absurd that LeBron is getting away with it on a nightly basis. And speaking of LeBron, the biggest game on Saturday was the Warriors versus the Lakers. This game was the most viewed non-Christmas Day regular season game in over 4 years with nearly 4 million viewers. LeBron versus Curry is the NBA's biggest rivalry, and they didn't disappoint at all this game. I mean, to close out the fourth quarter, Steph Curry turned into Chef Curry as he completely fooled Anthony Davis and laid in a bucket which forced overtime. Then, in OT, the Warriors once again found themselves down with just mere seconds left on the clock, only for the other Splash brother, Klay Thompson, to pump fake Austin Reeves into outer space, then hit a clutch three. In double overtime, Steph Curry was once again doing his MVP thing and hit a deep three to put Golden State up 1 with just 4.7 seconds left in the game. Unfortunately from there, the story of the game took over. I'm talking about a 43-16, 27 extra free throw advantage. LeBron hit his 2 free throws to win the game, Steph Curry ripped his jersey, and I facepalmed myself, then said the same thing every time I see the Lakers play. The refs. To ease my anger, however, I turned over to the Spurs versus Timberwolves game where a bat was in the arena. Now, I have just 3 questions regarding this. Number 1, how did a bat get into the frickin' arena? Number 2, what are the chances that on the day a bat flies into the arena that a Coyote mascot was dressed up as Batman? And number 3, how in the world did he catch that bat? I mean, what would the officials have done if that took like 10, 20, or 30 minutes? Anyway, the very next day on Sunday, there wasn't any particular game that I was interested in watching, but it just so happened that on this day, the biggest upset of the season happened. The Detroit Pistons, who according to Jimmy Highroller is the worst pro sports team of all time, without Cade Cunningham, beat a fully loaded OKC Thunder team, who was the number 1 seed in the West at the time.
Jaden Ivey to the rim, flips it up, fills it up. Okay.
How something like this happens is beyond me, but Pistons fans might be onto something when they say that Jaden Ivey, not Cade Cunningham, should be the point guard. Following the game, I decided to catch a quick snooze, and before I knew it, it was already Monday with some primetime matchups that I couldn't miss. The face-off between the Rockets and the Lakers wasn't my first choice, but Dylan Dynasty Brooks sure spiced things up. I mean, first off, he made a risky move by following Vanderbilt midair, leading to Vanderbilt's ejection after he retaliated.
No, he took exception to what Dylan did, and Vanderbilt wanted a piece of him.
After that, Brooks managed to sink a tough shot right over LeBron and followed it up with some hefty trash talk, reminiscent of how teenagers act in high school. Not stopping there, Dylan went on to literally smack LeBron in the face, which obviously got under LeBron's skin.
Yeah, LeBron he's upset. He thinks it should be more. Yeah, he's giving it.
Who really needs the WWE these days when you got all this going on in the NBA? The game I was really looking forward to was the Bucks and Nuggets matchup. It started off with Jokic disrespecting Giannis on defense, allowing the Greek Freak to hit an uncontested long jumper. Though when Giannis drove to the hoop, Jokic and the Nuggets weren't as passive because they knew what they were up against. But whenever Giannis is at the free throw line, it's all jokes again, as he got hit with a 10-second violation. In the past decade, I can't remember any player getting hit with this violation other than Giannis. Anyway, although this was a superstar-studded game with Giannis, Jokic, and Dame time, it was ultimately Jamal Murray who stole the show, as he made clutch shot after clutch shot and ended up with a game-high 35 points. Another matchup on Monday that was must-watch basketball was the game between the two top teams in the West, the Timberwolves and the Thunder. Both SGA and Anthony Edwards showed up ready to play, but despite a close game, the Timberwolves, with their team play, clinched a 107-101 victory. If you asked Edwards what the story of the game was, however, he'd say it was the refs.
How did you get it done in this environment?
I don't know, and I'm going to take the fine because the refs did not give us no calls tonight. We had to play through every bump, every grab. I don't know how we won tonight.
Edwards might have a point. I mean, watch these clips and listen carefully to Edwards every time he gets touched up.
See the footage of that. There's that he's got 6 straight 30-point games. 6 straight. That's right. Edwards driving and finishing.
If I was him, I'd be frustrated too, because the truth is, SGA was getting to the line every time he got touched. The free throw disparity between the two stars was 16-4. 16-4. And Edwards, true to his words, took the $40,000 fine like a champ. You know who deserves a true fine, though? The Charlotte Hornets. On Monday night, the Charlotte Hornets found themselves down 25 at home, getting their rear ends handed to them by the Knicks, with their head coach just getting ejected, and they were just laughing. I don't think I've ever seen a team down 25 at home laughing on the bench. That, in my opinion, deserves a fine. On a special note, on that same evening, to my surprise, Ben Simmons made an appearance. He actually performed impressively as well, with a stat line that reminded us of his potential. Ben was Ben again, but fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fans on social media wouldn't be fooled again and ripped Ben hard. him eyeing the next 38 games to sit out. Well done, Ben. See you in the postseason for your second game of the season. And Bum, afraid to shoot, will sit out the next 20 games. Funny enough, the fans were right. 2 days later, on the very next game when the Nets were scheduled to play Phoenix, Ben was injured again and pulled the DNP. Tuesday brought another highlight with the Warriors facing off against the 76ers. Despite concerns over Embiid's availability, he suited up, contributing to a highly competitive game. Unfortunately for the reigning MVP, however, it was the Steph Curry show that night.
Is there to clear. It's 1-on-3 right now. That doesn't matter. Steph.
Number 30 didn't care if he was vastly outnumbered. He wasn't going to let the Warriors lose again. I mean, the look he had in his eyes all night reminded me of Game 4 Finals Curry, as he went for 37 points on 12 for 17 shooting from the floor with 8 triples. The story for the Warriors, however, was Jonathan Kuminga.
Statistical anomaly. Philadelphia has 1 assist, 34 points. Wow!
Because let's face it, we all expect Curry to efficiently drop 30 on a nightly basis, but we're not used to seeing a physical specimen like Kuminga playing alongside him. Over the past few weeks, JK's emerging talents have been on full display, and this game was no different. Golden State is currently witnessing the rise of another new superstar. The Warriors eventually pulled out the win against Philly, but unfortunately, the game was marred by an injury to Embiid. The incident has since sparked a league-wide discussion about the potential drawbacks of the newly instituted 65-game eligibility requirement for awards. Another discussion buzzing around the league currently is surrounding the NBA trade deadline. The Lakers have found themselves at the center of speculation, with rumors swirling about a potential trade to exchange D'Angelo Russell for DeJounte Murray. What's hilarious about this, though, is that during a game on Tuesday where the Lakers visited the Hawks, D'Lo's free throw attempts were met with chants of, "We don't want you."
We don't want you! We don't want you!
On the following day, there was a game between the Suns and the Ben Simmons-less Nets, but before the game, fans were wondering if KD deserved a tribute video, with Kevin Durant replying, "Please don't, the night will be better without it." Well, against his wishes, they gave him one anyway.
They show love, they appreciate basketball, great basketball.
Best player on the planet, best scorer to ever touch a basketball.
How did KD respond to that tribute, you may ask? By absolutely torching the Nets. Durant went MVP mode and crushed the Ben Simmons-less Nets for 36 points on just 16 shots, then proceeded to tell their second leading scorer, Cam Thomas, that he's too small. Kevin Durant is such a savage, and I love it. And with that being said, here are some facts that you might not know. While the Knicks may have the longest active win streak in the league currently with 9 consecutive wins, the Cavaliers, since Darius Garland got injured on December 15th, have been the hottest team in the league, winning 17 of 21 games. You know who could care less about that, though? Rajon Rondo. The former NBA star was recently arrested for possession of firearms and drugs, and trust me when I say, the last thing he cares about at this moment are the Cavaliers and their hot streak.